Welcome to a Delco Nerd Network hot take. If you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a movie, and that movie is Wonder Woman 1984. Here to discuss, as always, the triple threat himself, Chris Trio.
Wonder Woman! Gooch, how are you?
I'm good, man. Are you ready to discuss the HBO Max's latest... I was gonna say like filmic hit, but that didn't make much sense. But
yeah, I mean, who knows? It might be a hit. I wonder. I would be very interested to see what the ratings are on this on HBO Max and how much revenue it actually generated, because they did run a deal before this. I think it was like a year for like a pretty substantially less amount of money. So I'm curious how many people kind of bought into that for this, and like what the streaming numbers are like for this. Because I'm not gonna lie, Gooch, not watching this in the theater was tough. I feel like it affected it for me.
110% agree with you. Before
like, it really is.
Before PA kind of went on lockdown again, we were gonna plan on trying to see it in the theaters.
Yep.
We had a few ideas going. Like we were like, oh, maybe we should rent out a theater or something. That'd be fun. And then I was like, yeah, it's too close to the holidays, and I was kind of like stressed out with doing some podcasts. We decided not to do it. I'm like, all right, we'll just go see it like on Saturday. And then obviously like we can't do that here, so we both watched it alone. I don't know. Well, I don't know if you watched it with anyone, Trio.
No, I didn't.
Watched it separate on HBO Max, and yeah. I mean, before we talk about a movie, I really feel like streaming it was a detriment to it. Not even from like the spectacle of it, but I feel like it just, I don't know. I feel like it would have been a better experience in the theaters. And
well, you know what?
I feel like we got to talk about the movie a little bit to kind of go off of that.
We definitely will.
Yeah.
No, like I guess just for me, like at the beginning, it's just like there's the thing about being in a theater is you are. One, I guess this is kind of a test of if the movie is very interesting or not, if it keeps your attention, but it makes you hold your attention. You can't be on your phone. I can't pause the movie and go use the bathroom or grab a quick drink or bite or whatever. And like, I feel like the movie theater does that. It makes you respect everyone else's time being there, but it also makes you focus up a little bit more. And I think also the screen thing was a factor. I had to watch it on my smaller TV. I know you got at least your 4K big guy, but just because I didn't, my parents were out in the main room, so I didn't have like the biggest TV to watch on and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I was just watching on my
the TV usually play games on.
Yeah, exactly. So my like I don't know 40-inch LG, and like there were some scenes in this where I'm like I feel like this would have been a little bit more spectacular, as we were saying.
Especially
like if we got to see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I guess we'll get into it now. Overall, what did you think? Like, we'll go spoiler free for a while. And then we'll get into it.
Spoiler free, what did I think? Well, I didn't love it, and I didn't hate it, but there was a lot of like I'm struggling to find things I liked about the movie a lot. I enjoyed the ending the most, but like the movie is very meh. Like it just like doesn't hit any of the marks the first movie did. I feel like when kind of comparing the period piece of World War I with the first one and the 80s with this, the 80s just like really doesn't do a single thing for me or the movie. Like put it in a different time period and I think it would work. Obviously Wonder Woman, the original, the World War II set piece is really the whole movie, and it like if you took that out, it would be a different movie. You could splice in the 90s, the 70s, the 60s now, and it would be pretty much the same movie, just change a few things up.
Sure.
I don't think
you just wouldn't get the same static.
Right. I don't think that like the 1980s is kind of what's the word? As ancillary as say like Stranger Things in the 80s. Like, you know what I mean?
What do you mean? Like it's not as like it's not as like it's not as key to
the 1980s set period. The period of time and Stranger Things are like they have to be together.
No, like, true, and there are even like story elements in you're right. There's even story elements in Stranger Things, like where it's like they don't have cell phones, and that is like a big like like things that are a product of the time, and I think that does add to it. I mean, I think overall I'm a little bit higher on this movie than you so far. I enjoyed it. I didn't like. I'm not in love with it. I think it's not as good as the first one for sure. But I also I don't know. I guess I had a great time with Gal Gadot. I think she's awesome in this role. I think she kind of has really fit into that, and I really enjoy her a lot, at least in the movie and playing the role of Wonder Woman. Like I feel like she felt very comfortable in it this time around, and I thought she had some great scenes. And there were a few things that I didn't love, like with the treatment of Barbara Minerva's character and like certain stylistic choices there, even like with how she even looks. Uh, but I don't know. I had a great. I'm not gonna. I wasn't bored. I think I enjoyed it a lot. I think Pedro Pascal played a really fun villain that I enjoyed watching, and like, not didn't necessarily make sense all the time, but I had a pretty good time with it. I think I'm a little bit higher on it than I feel like. It's weird. I guess I feel like there was some pretty good buzz about this before it came out with like the initial reviews, and then now like the fan reaction has been, at least from what I'm
Pretty
seeing, kind
negative.
of mixed.
Yeah.
Like, has it been negative? Like, I don't
feel
know,
like
because I feel like I've
I
been
feel
seeing
like
like a pretty mixed.
it's definitely mixed, but I think it's more leaning toward the negative. And I mean, I could be wrong.
I don't know. And then I'm seeing like some things that are like, I don't know, like weird, like criticism. Like even like there was like one thing going around, and obviously I don't know how well we can speak to this. It was like the criticism of like how certain groups were used in the movie and stuff like that. And there were points where I'm just like, I don't even know what's kind of happening, because it was like we're getting to the point with Maxwell Lord where I didn't really understand his plan that much
I
too.
really
to a degree.
hated Maxwell Lord. And I
You
wasn't
hated him?
I wasn't too fond of Pedro Pascal. Kind of, I think it's not his performance. It's the way he's written. You know, Maxwell Lord in the
Sure,
comics
not very hammy.
is not that character at all. I
Yeah, but
could have been fine with the way he was done, but I don't like the like I'm a loser kind of like background they gave him. Like Maxwell Lord in the comics is like a businessman in the tech world on par with like Luther in a sense.
sure.
Like, and whether he's a meta or not, it doesn't really make a difference. But
Yeah.
they like really just like totally like threw that out and been like, all right, he's just like a fake. And
I'm just curious,
I didn't
but,
really
like
like it.
How big of a fan of you are Maxwell? Like, because honestly, I don't really. I guess I
No,
liked this treatment of him. Like, I feel like I could have said the same thing in like with Black Mask and like Birds of Prey. Like, he was not the same character.
I'm not.
at all
I'm
in that
not.
movie
I wouldn't say I'm like any sort of
a
Maxwell Lord
Maxwell
like,
Lord stan.
fan. Yeah. But you know, we did see him
No,
in
I don't. I get.
in Supergirl season 1. Like we have seen him before. And maybe
Oh
he's
my
in.
God, he was in that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny.
And
I
he
totally forgot
I don't
about
know if
that.
he's in Smallville, but you know, probably. Maybe.
Sure.
Um
Yeah,
and I like the way they
I,
did him in Supergirl. Like he was a very like Lex Luthor-y villain, but like
he basically is her Lex Luthor almost.
right. And in that
Yeah.
universe, he doesn't have powers. He's just kind of you know,
Sure.
a Lex Luthor type. But
Yeah.
I just think they did it like okay. I wouldn't, you know, it's not like I'm like fucking
Sure.
rooting and raving about it. But
Oh, of course.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that he was a fake and like sort of like was a loser and he knew it and he wanted to not be a loser. I was just like, ugh, like I don't know. I don't know. I
See,
don't like this.
that
I
works.
think the Dreamstone was like a really like weird MacGuffin that wrote them into a lot of holes. One of them being Steve Trevor's involvement, which I really think holds this movie back. I really
Dude,
think
that was one of my strongest points of the movie. Like, I love that. I think they brought him back in a way that like made a bit of sense to me. I thought it was kind of actually a little like funny in the way of like. So okay, I guess we'll start getting into spoilers here.
yeah, let's do
If
it.
you if you've seen the, if you, I think you should watch the movie. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
I mean,
it. I
even
think it was
if
like
you
a good time.
yeah, even if you want to subscribe to HBO Max for like a week or a month
Yeah.
and get it, I think it's definitely worth it. And you know, if you want to go see it in the theaters, I think it's worth it too.
I think it's only on there till the 29th on HBO Max. Just for
23rd.
a heads up for you. 23rd.
Yeah, of January. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I don't know. I liked Maxwell Lord's treatment a lot. Like, I felt like he felt like more of a real character than Barbara Minerva. Minerva, they kind of were. I felt like going again with like the weird like Edward Nygma like
You
Electro
know,
thing of like this
Electro.
like
That's exactly who I
you know
thought
what I
of.
was like
I was
like
like,
where she's
this feels like
like
Electro.
she's weirdly not cool at times, but then she turns out to be very cool. Like when Barb was talking to her, and then like everyone and explicitly hates her for no reason. And I don't know. It is the '80s. I feel like people were kind of like a little bit more like fuck you back then in like the workplaces and things like that maybe. But like I don't know. It was this weird thing, and then like I really. What did you think about the cheetah design?
I liked it.
I despised it. It was this
Really?
weird. It was this
That's
weird
what I
like
wanted.
but like I guess I didn't like the weird like very thick fur on her that was like tufty, and like her hair and her face like they went with like this kind of half cheetah half face thing. I don't know, like I don't
Yeah,
know. And then
if her
and then they
face was
very
like full cats, I wouldn't mind. But
well, I don't even, or just make it full human, just with like cat, like just with like I don't know, like it felt like this, and then they put it in this very dark, dimly lit setting for the fight that I just didn't really think was that spectacular.
I can agree with
And
that.
like I don't know, I felt like she was kind of done. Like I actually I like Kristen Wiig, and I thought she was entertaining. Like I can't say I got to say it again. I wasn't bored during this movie, and
It's fucking
but I definitely
long.
was thinking
It's
it was
fucking long. I don't, and it's
2.5 hours.
and it's not like I kind of mentioned it on Twitter. It's not like it's bloated, but like it's not like there's like a lot going on. Like the plot,
No, exactly.
the plot is easily understandable, and I just think it's like it is just like not. I wouldn't even say stretched out. I don't know what it was. It just seems it is long in the
I
tooth,
wish
and maybe it's because
wish
not
I
a lot
could have seen
happens
it.
in that
Yeah.
middle section. Like
Yeah.
things are happening, but like not a lot is happening. If that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I like that kind of like they did the fish out of water thing again but they did it with Steve Trevor, and I thought like I don't know. I enjoyed bringing the idea of her like having just that last couple moments with him, and I love how she was just totally ready to steal that dude's body. First off, she was like, "Yeah, he's mine now. Like this guy's life doesn't matter. He is mine, and his life is erased. It doesn't matter." But yeah, I thought like Chris Pine is great in that role, and I
Yeah.
felt like they didn't do it in a weird. I think they did it in a way that like it doesn't affect the rest of the timeline, but at the same time, there are some other things in this where it's like when Superman, and I think they've kind of just given up on timeline stuff to a degree for certain things.
Yeah, I wouldn't like. Not that I need this to be a thing, but
Superman fell from the sky and all this weird stuff starts happening. It's like, wait, what about the wall that grew around like Israel or whatever back in the '80s, and when we all almost went to nuclear war?
I don't think this movie is trying to be within Zack Snyder's universe or like whatever DCU they have going on. I really think this is like, all right, we're gonna do our own thing, and it's like it's a part of the DCEU, but like lightly.
By the way, she can fly, which I feel like they've been kind of half-assing. Like you've been kind of like, because I felt like she was flying in Batman vs Superman when she was like, or like they could have been big leaps, or whatever. Like I think she's gonna fly in the Snyder cut.
Really,
I think she's totally gonna fly. I think she'll end up, because I feel like now that they've kind of put that in there and they've set that up that she. Because, like, again, they never explicitly said in those movies she couldn't, but there was, like, even at the end of Wonder Woman 1, like, she did a weird kind of leap off a roof, and it looked like she was going to fly. But I like that. I liked some of, like, there were some nods that genuinely made me, like, grin, like the invisible jet thing, when he's like, oh my God, like, and it didn't
I thought that was a smart way to do that. That's like a kind of a tough thing to, like, I don't even know where, right, like, how do you do the invisible jet?
I thought it was, like, a smart idea, like, when she's like, well, my father hid the mascara, so I've been trying to figure out if I could do that. I'm like, that makes complete sense.
Is that
like,
a power she has in the comic? Because I was like, where the fuck are they pulling that from?
But, like, I guess, like, within the world of, like, the rules of the world that they've built, it worked for me. Like,
I was just curious. I'm like, I've never actually
thought about it. Yeah,
right.
And of course, like her old origin was, I mean, they kind of half use it in the first one where she's just built out of clay, so she wasn't always like a demigod. But yeah, I thought those things were cool. I really like the after credit scene. We don't have to talk about that specifically right now, but it tricked me. It got me. I don't know why it did, but I was like, oh shit, and that was a lot of fun. But again, I think I see some negative reaction out there where I'm like, I don't think it's like that bad. Like, I don't even think it's bad. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's great. I don't think like I think I enjoyed myself. I wasn't like sitting here waiting for the movie to end. The one thing though I don't think they've completely nailed is her physics. Like that first mall fight scene, the way she's kind of like, and I guess it's because she's kind of, I guess,
Well,
half flying.
here's
She's
something
like
that
floating
I don't
through
know if
the
you
air.
really realized, and maybe pointing it out, you'll be like, oh, fuck, you're right. No sword in this one. None.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It's all her lasso. And
right. There's a lot more lasso.
Yeah.
There must have been a WB exec who was like, more lasso. Because there's a lot of lasso
yeah, but
in this
also,
movie.
like,
and there's not in Justice
true.
League. Like, this is, the Joss
No,
Whedon cut, like, he doesn't use a lot of lasso. I doubt Snyder will. And then in Batman v Superman and Wonder Woman 1, there's not a lot of lasso at all.
No, I agree. It's funny,
in this movie, it's all over the place.
Yeah, and I like that. I just think they need to, and there are a few, like, I like the scene where she's in the White House fighting the dudes. I think that's well done.
Yeah.
But there's that kind of first fight scene where she's like, I like the idea of her using the lasso to swing around, and I do want to see her use it more, because honestly, I don't know how much in the comics she uses the sword and shield and stuff. I know in like the New 52 she has that more often.
Sparingly, yeah. I feel like different writers will write her with the sword and shield, or just a sword.
And others will not. Yeah.
I feel like it's just whoever's writing it decides to use it or not.
I appreciated she used the tiara. I thought that was a nice touch, and I felt like
I didn't really care if it was used or not.
No, of course.
For me personally.
Again, it's those nice touches, and it's fun. So I saw you tweet yesterday, I think it was, and I responded to you that you felt like WB had a big hand in this, and that's why it feels so muddy. I would agree if I felt like it was trying to set up like a ton of extra like sequels and DC spin-offs and all that. But I truly felt like this time they were like, Patty, do what you want. Like, make your movie.
I
like,
feel like
I don't see where like the meddling would come in, at least for like where Justice League, they were kind of like, whoa, this is a big box office, whatever. We need to like really adjust this. But I mean, even the first one, like I felt that studio interference at the end. I mean, she even said that wasn't her original ending. And I feel like a lot of people did. That's not like crazy for me to point out. But like, I don't know. I felt like this was kind of her vision. And like it was completely. Of course, there's studio meddling to a degree, but like I really do think like this is what she wanted to do, and I don't know. I could be wrong.
There's no way when they were writing the script that was a thing. No way.
What was a thing?
That like they were just they had Patty Jenkins on a leash at the beginning of writing this thing, because at the start of writing, that was probably when Justice League was just. I'm curious if you could Google real quick when we actually got the announcement for 84, because it's been around for a while. I don't, I'm sure you realize that, but like we got Wonder Woman 84, like before we got a trailer, like that movie was around for a while. So they must have been writing it for a long time. And I'm thinking when Justice League, when DC and Warner Brothers started doing their bullshit and kind of interfering with these movies, they kind of said maybe at the start they kind of were like, all right, we want a movie like this, and Patty started writing it like that. And then as time went on, things loosened up, because like, look, at the start of writing that script, Zack Snyder was still totally out. Now Zack Snyder's totally in, like.
But he wasn't. But he was always producer, so he wasn't totally out.
And he's producer credits on this too. But guess who also wrote it?
That's what I mean.
Jeff Johns wrote this, and this movie reeks of Jeff Johns. Like it feels like a Jeff Johns thing.
Like, why does it reek of Jeff? Like Jeff Johns was a writer on like Batman v Superman stuff too, wasn't he? Like he was on he was on like why? What's so. Like the? Well, it was like I think actually it was Chris Terrio or whatever. And but like again, I don't know. Like, I don't feel that.
Chris Terrio.
Chris Terrio, I think, it was a very mixed record. But I don't know. I don't feel like there's like any like. It really feels like they did what they did with Aquaman and James Wan and them, and they were like, make what you want to make.
I'm not saying Patty Jenkins didn't make what she wanted to make. I just feel like I sense the WB kind of like I just feel it. I don't know.
Sure. I guess, like, again, it would come down to, like, if I felt like there were all these things, like, shoehorned in, like, to build the universe more or whatever, I would kind of feel that more. There was one thing, that I felt like was definitely studio put in, was the little girl at the beginning, like, smiling at her while she's, like, fighting the bad guys.
Oh, yeah, and then she saves the kids in Egypt. Yeah, it's
Which is
exactly
another.
what I
That was
thought.
another thing. I'm like, you guys are in the middle of an open road in Egypt, and you can't see this truck bailing. They're just like playing like
Yeah,
like soccer or whatever.
it's like this is
Yeah,
kind
like
of weird. I was like, all right.
this is a very contrived. Yeah, I totally agree.
Did
Truck
you
flip. Haven't seen
speaking
a
of
truck flip in a while.
the Egyptian part? Did you hear? So that guy, that like oil dude, he name drops Bialia.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that's where he's
Who's
from.
Bialia?
So you've
Oh,
never heard
okay.
of Queen Bee and Bialia and Hive?
Queen Bee sounds. Oh yes. Okay. Yeah.
It's in Young
But like, so what?
Justice, and it's a
So that
fictitious
guy.
country. It's like
Yeah.
Markovia is like another fictitious country they
Sure.
love to use.
Yeah. Fun fact: the DC universe Earth is slightly bigger than our Earth because they have to account for all the made-up cities and the real ones. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like that part, it was very like sparse. Like I thought it was interesting. I thought that's a cool thing now that you pointed it out. But I did not realize that. In the moment.
I mean, it's a one line thing, so and it goes
Sure.
right by it. I'm trying to think of. I want to go back to Steve Trevor. I feel like using the Dreamstone and the whole wish thing. Really, like they had to put Steve Trevor in this movie because of that. Because there's nothing else Diana would want to wish for besides Steve Trevor being back.
Sure.
And kind of my gripe with Steve Trevor is Wonder Woman doesn't need fucking Steve Trevor. like it's you know, that's a little like I don't know. Like I like Steve Trevor in the first one. I think it makes sense. It works. But in this one, it's just like he's just kind of there. Like
he is.
it's kind of funny. Like I think those
saying...
scenes that you were mentioning earlier, like of him kind of being the fish out of water. Like I think that's funny, and like it worked. Like it wasn't stupid to me, but it's just kind of like okay, like Steve Trevor's just here.
Yeah. No. Again, I think they needed to put him in? No, but I think they kind of did what you're even saying here. Wonder Woman doesn't need Steve Trevor, and this was kind of the movie about her really realizing that. And the first one was her losing him.
I don't really think we needed a movie for that. Like that's kind of my thing. Like, I don't think we needed to see Wonder Woman being like, "Yeah, I don't need Steve Trevor. I need to move on." I think you would kind of like just get that like with him being gone and her just kind of like growing, like talking about it.
I don't know. I guess like, do we need it? No. But do we need to see Uncle Ben or the Waynes killed in every single movie that they're in? No. But like, I think it's done well enough.
You want to start that fight?
That was the little dig right there, just because I knew it would just. No, I'm kidding. But like, I guess I don't think. No, do we necessarily need to see that? No, but I think it works for me in this movie, and I think their chemistry is so good and so fun to watch that I accepted it, and I felt like it was a fun plot line to explore. And I don't know, I did really like the 80s setting in this. No, do I think like I don't think there was a lot of things like maybe you could probably set it in the 2000s and have there be a similar crisis with like different countries and stuff like that because there's always one going on in the fucking world. But like I thought it was a fun kind of time setting to have her set in, and I love the styles there, and I love like I mean she looks great in every scene. I love just the costume design. Like I thought like Steve Trevor looked hilarious too. Like it's a fun time to set in. I think that's kind of the major reason they did it. But
yeah,
I don't know. I did have a good time with it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The end credit scene, the after credit scene, Linda Carter showing up was so cool. Like it really,
I knew she was in this movie because she was in the marketing material for it, or she did stuff for it.
That's cool.
So
I assumed
I was
she
like,
would pop up at some
she's
point.
got to be in here. Like,
yeah, no, it was cool because I was like, oh, what's this? I wonder what they're gonna set up here. Here's Diana walking.
What was the warrior's name? Atreya?
Arameus, maybe?
No. Atreya? Maybe it's Atreya.
I think who is Patty? No. I might Linda Carter. And Wonder Woman 1984. Excuse me on that. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, her cameo, like I liked it. It made sense, and I think they kind of like wrote it in very.
Yeah, she plays like
smartly.
This ancient Amazon warrior. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the one who kind of used that gold wingsuit, and which I thought was awesome. Like I thought that was cool.
Which I thought looked cool, but very underused.
Right.
Like she just used it to block like Cheetah from. Like I don't. And then so is she just not Cheetah anymore?
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, I was gonna talk about like, Cheetah. I actually liked Cheetah, and I think like one thing I was scared that like Maxwell Lord was going to take away from Cheetah or vice versa. I don't really think that happened. I think that both those villains kind of complemented each other, but they kind of start teeing up another villain if you didn't catch on to it, which I was like, are they talking about Cersei? Because like there's a god who made that dream stone,
yeah,
but
I thought
the Greek god, the Greek trickster, the Greek trickster god is, I'll get his name up because I googled it earlier. It's not like Cersei. Greek trickster god is Dolos, Dolos. So I just looked that up, and like they don't name drop him, but I assume that's who they're talking about. And I was sitting here, and I'm like,
I thought she like says which god it is, like at one point in the movie. I missed it.
Oh, maybe I missed it.
If because she's like, oh, if whoever made this, then it's only for evil, like, or it's only to take things away.
Right, and she says it's a he, and that's kind of was like, oh, it's not Cersei. I was like, that would have been a cool like tee up idea, like. Because this movie, I mean, that's one thing we can talk about. Like doesn't set any sort of sequel up or bait anything at all.
That's why, and that's something I'm not gonna lie, I really appreciate it, and that's I guess one of the other reasons why I don't feel like that. Like, of course, the studio touches things and does things, but like, it didn't feel like as heavy-handedly as like, I don't know, like Justice League, like kind of teeing up everyone for whatever's coming next, and then like, I don't know. I think they did a good job in that. There's nothing worse than just overly blatant, like setting up a movie that no one is going to care about. I mean, I think we'll see a third one of this. And
I was going to say, what do you want to see a sequel? Like, what do you want to see out of another Wonder Woman movie? Because personally, I would just like drop this time period crap. Let's get modern day. I don't really like. I want to see Wonder Woman kind of like just doing like I think one thing that kind of bugged me in this movie, I don't see Wonder Woman as like a Spider-Man-esque hero, like just kind of like saving the everyman. She's not that kind of hero. Like she's not just like in cities just like fucking helping people out, which she kind of was in this. And I was like, I get it, and like I understand, but like that's not Wonder Woman. Like Wonder Woman doesn't do that. That's a Batman thing or Superman thing. Like they have their own city. Wonder Woman doesn't. You know.
Yeah, she's more on Themyscira and like taking on more mystical enemies,
right? And doing like a lot grander stuff. But like Batman and Superman do both.
Sure, but I guess like I think she saves the everyman when she can and when she's around, and I guess I don't mind the idea of her living in Washington D.C. and like working at the Smithsonian and still.
I don't mind that at all. Like, I think I kind of like that persona for her. Diana Prince, you know, not archaeologist, museum curator.
She'd have to like fake her death or something every couple years, or do like she just keep, especially in like what see. That's the thing I'd be curious to go. Like, I think when you were asking what would be the next thing I'd like to see, I think you're right. I think present day, I would like to see. But again, like villains wise, she doesn't have like they view Cheetah,
Ares,
fucking Ares. Those are the two big ones that I know, and I'm a big fucking comic book nerd. And I was actually looking up things, and I'm like looking at other ones, and like Maxwell Lord's on there, Dr. Poison they already used. Who else? I mean, Cersei, I guess, would be that. Just that seems to be the most
obvious. Yeah.
The next one, yeah, like that. But you know what? Hey, I'd be fine with them kind of thinking outside the box, and maybe like it's acceptable to me for them to like maybe pull in like a Superman villain for her or something like that, or even like I don't know. I don't really, because again, she doesn't have that big of a rogues gallery. I don't know what else they can really do. I would love to see a Superman and Wonder Woman team up movie of some kind. I guess you just start getting into the Justice League again there, but like,
I mean, like,
I don't know.
That's kind of where she's seen of the most. I feel like she does team up with people a lot. Like she's just one of those characters who, like, I feel like she has her own comics or her own stories, but like, she's usually with other people.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of her like solo stories that I've read,
and she's always on the Justice League.
More about her.
Whatever team it is, she's always there.
Yeah, she's dealing with a lot of like Themyscira problems and stuff like that, and like I don't know. I really don't know what I'd like to see out of this next movie. Like I said, I think base point is present day. I think we can do that. I don't think we need another period piece.
Yeah, because I just want to like I let's tie things back into the DCEU. That's kind of what I want to
I guess
see.
I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily care about that. I just want like a good. I'm fine with things being a little separate for a little while, and we're gonna get the Justice League, the Snyder Cut, and stuff like that, and we're getting Batman, which is obviously in its own universe entirely. Just give me a good movie, and I'll be happy. And I think, I think this movie was good, and I enjoyed it, and I am excited to see another Wonder Woman, and I am curious how much more or less I would have liked it seeing it in the movie theater, because I do think that also affected my opinion as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle on it. I don't love it and I don't hate it. But I don't necessarily like it either. And it's kind of hard for me to pick points of which I totally am in love with. Yeah, and I just don't really know what I want from a sequel. Like, we'll see if maybe we won't get one because we don't necessarily. Sorry, I mean not a sequel. Well, a sequel, I guess. I don't even know. Is that technically still a sequel, even though it's the third one?
Yeah, it's the threequel. But it's still a sequel.
Yeah, like I'm wondering if that's gonna even be greenlit because that's not a project that has been ever talked about.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it already has.
Right. Behind the scenes, I'm sure there's conversation.
But like Patty Jenkins, well, no, like she, like I think, like confirmed it in a few interviews, and then also there was like they were talking about doing like an Amazon TV show like set on Themyscira, set like after Diana leaves the island.
I didn't talk about Gal Gadot much, and I really like her in this role. Like I think everyone does.
She's awesome.
Like and my issue isn't with any of the actors' performances. I thought all the performances are really good. I just think it's the writing. Like there are some lines that are like, ugh, like what? Like
they're a little
a
little schmaltzy.
Yeah, this movie is a very I kind of like seeing her in this dark, drab kind of world more than I like
World War One.
Yeah, and I didn't like seeing her in this bright, colorful, not happy-go-lucky, but like I don't know, more carefree, sort of like lighter mood. Like I don't know, and it's like it's not like Wonder Woman is that kind of character either, but she is really serious, and I think Gal Gadot kind of portrays her as that, but also has like a charming kind of like carefree side, but also to her core she's an Amazonian, and like maybe they'll do something like in the future, like that would be cool if they like we have Atlantis and Themyscira and the Amazons, like and in a lot of DC canon, like Wonder Woman is either a liaison for like Themyscira to the US or someone else is. Like I would like to see like is that a thing we're gonna get into now that
where I think
like the Dark Side War like is kind of happening? Like is that gonna happen where like okay, like we're gonna get liaisons from Atlantis and Themyscira and like something's gonna happen there? Because I feel like that's a build up. We're talking about the next Justice League movie now.
Sure. Yeah, and where I think they actually could go the next movie that I think would be cool and interesting to see, because I don't feel like we've gotten it in major movies, at least gotten it in a good way, is Wonder Girl, like a sidekick, like an actual, like I would like to see her actually take like maybe a protege of some kind under her wing, because I feel like we've never seen like a Robin come in live action. We've never, or at least in the movies, obviously we have like, and I mean we've seen like Chris O'Donnell and Batman and Robin, but like he's more
you're
like,
talking about like and even in Titans, like we're seeing Nightwing. That's not Robin.
Yeah, we're seeing the adult. Yeah, like
and we're never getting them both together.
No, and like I would like to see that happen, and I don't really know much about Donna Troy. Like I don't like, but I find her to be like just aesthetically a cool character, and just the idea. I liked her a lot in Titans for the little bit that they used her. I think they could go somewhere cool with that, and kind of nail that kind of movie that we haven't seen, which is so weird because it happens so much in DC Comics, where it's like it is that sidekick. It's the taking a protege under your wing. It's introducing another character, and I guess we might see that in like newer movies now. Like maybe I know what's her name's going to be in Captain Marvel, like Kamala Khan and stuff like that. But I don't know. That's I think would be the coolest way to go, and present day.
I think real quick, the music. Yeah. So Hans Zimmer did the music, and it was okay. I think it's not his best. I mean, but it was all right. Here's the one thing
Sure.
I loved. So in the scene where Wonder Woman is kind of speaking to the world through like her lasso through Maxwell Lord, they play the Beautiful Lie track that's Batman's theme, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, this is very fitting. I was like,
surprised you didn't give it a 10 out of 10 already.
Yeah, dude, I was fucking jazzed up about that. And like, you know, they use her theme, but I really like that, like the Hans Zimmer Junkie XL version.
Yeah,
like, I love the like it's more
like the electric guitar.
Yeah, I don't really like it in full orchestral. Like I really like it in that kind of like rock or like
that. Like, you know,
yeah, it's got like such a it's just more it like pops more with her. And I wish they kind of like used it a little more instead of like using just the orchestral version of it. Like it's not bad score, and I'm probably gonna go back and listen to it. But that Beautiful Lie track, oh my god, when I heard that, I was like, oh fuck. I'm like, this makes a ton of sense. Real quick, we didn't talk about the intro sequence. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, I really did too. I actually really like that. I thought it was a cool like
it sets it up good because she like kind of cheats. And then, like, you know, not Hippolyta. Who's that? It begins with an A. That Amazonian.
I can't remember her. Is it?
Anyway,
I don't remember.
Yeah, so, like, she cheats, and that's kind of what, like, you know, and she gets punished, like, hey, like, you're not going to get anywhere by, like, cheating in life, and that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
And they kind of play into that. It's like, you know, Barbara Minerva kind of does the same thing. She, like, cheats. Being
Again,
I guess a better person, and Maxwell Lord cheats at becoming successful and like this person of like notoriety and fame and power and stuff, and and then at the end they kind of like take it, and I like the message at the end that they have. It's just like, yeah, like we all kind of have these troubles and we all kind of wish we could like do X and Y or have X and
Just
Y,
but
like it's, you know, in the grand scheme of things, like we probably don't want to just like get what we want, you know, for nothing.
It's good. I think, definitely a nice little message at the end, a little hopeful message. I think it was well done, but again, I still think Barbara should have stayed Cheetah somehow. Like she was cursed for some reason.
Yeah,
like stay like that.
Because in the comics,
she even
Cheetah has a big fucking
like,
grudge against Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and like, isn't that because she turns into that thing? Like, she doesn't necessarily want to be Cheetah.
Yeah, and
like,
in the comics,
like in this, like
she's an Amazonian in some origins, and I think
and then others she's like an archaeologist. Like, it's interesting. I don't know. I felt like I didn't like her treatment as much as I liked Max Lord, but I don't know. Huge. Is there anything else? I'm trying to think. I feel like we kind of touched on everything here.
No, that's it for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Got the Invisible Jet. That was great. Linda Carter, awesome. Yeah. No real tee up for the next one. And I guess that about does it for us today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to check us out live when we do these on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network, you can find us there. We'd really appreciate it. Come by, hang out. We are on all these socials at Delco Nerds, basically on everything. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. Just search Delco Nerd Network. You can find all this information on our website, delconerdnetwork.com. Even shoot us an email, delconerds@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, guys. For Gooch, I've been Trio. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.